So yesterday, I had a great time because I had a really interactive audience when I was sharing day 123. This is day 124. So I feel like I want to go over the book of John 3 again because I feel like I didn't give it justice. I was enjoying the conversation. There were lots of questions, and so uh, it was very interactive. However, when I was done, I felt like I didn't quite say all the things I wanted to say. And in trying to make it simpler, I took a Bible version that I feel did not do justice to John 3. So I went ahead and finished everything, including that of today. I told the whole story of John 3, and I would just like to recap it again. Anyway, if you're joining me for the first time, this is the Bible in 1 year with Uchidoayi. It's a podcast where I read the Bible. I have a daily reading guide that I follow, and every single day, I was looking for it to show you. Every single day, we take a Bible. Okay, so I don't have it here. I'm not sure where I kept it, but normally it's with this book. So every single day, I think I've dropped it. All right, no sweat. So every single day we read an Old Testament, a New Testament, a Psalm, and a Proverb. We cover the Bible daily. That's how that particular Bible guide is structured. I just want to share. So I'm doing this because number one, I want to get to know God for myself and the stories in the Bible to see how they are written and to draw my own conclusions and interpretations. I also want to share it with an audience. That's why I'm shooting live. I want to share it with an audience because I feel like they would hold me accountable. I also want to test the theories and the principles that are listed that we should test, and then also let go of the things that we are told we should let go of. So it's been an interesting ride, and today is day 124. All right, so very quickly we are right smack in the middle of Judges in today's scriptures. We're looking at Judges 19 and 20, and then we're rounding up John 3. We're rounding up the whole of John 3 and entering John 4. And then, of course, we have a psalm and a proverb. Can you please give me a minute? I'm not sure why the Bible guide isn't here. Okay. It was very important that I found it so that I don't mix up the scriptures. Yes. So today we are reading Psalm 102 and Proverbs 14:22 to 24. Alright, so let's quickly get into it. This story is very interesting. I titled it The Unnamed Raped Woman. This is the first woman, I think, in all of my readings that has been recorded as raped in the Bible. Terrible story. Terrible story. A certain man, a certain Levi, he had a concubine, and a concubine is like a woman that everybody accepts it is with you, but she's not legally married to you. So back in the day, when a man had a wife, I guess because some men were polygamous and they didn't really want to be polygamous, they now had what is known as concubines. So a concubine is like that unofficial wife, the side chick, and that is accepted by the society as being with you. So a certain Levite from Ephraim, he had a small spat with his concubine, and so she packs up from his house and she moves back home to her father's house in Bethlehem, the famous Bethlehem where Jesus was born. So after 4 months, she moved back to her father's house. After 4 months, in the Bible is written hubby, so that means they recognized him as being her in the place of a husband to her. They say her hubby went after her to reconcile with her, speak nicely to her, and ask her to come back home with him. Her father is excited to meet him. He entertains him for 4 days. So every time he makes to leave, the father will say, "Oh, why don't you just?" I think the father is like this kind of guys that like over hangouts. They like chilling and they like drinking because the way he was described. Every time the perceived son-in-law wants to go, he would say, "Oh, come on, man, let's be merry." And I would say, "Bring drinks and bring food." And so the guy will sit down and drink. But on the fifth day, he says, no, we have to go. Even though it's late, we have to go. So they travel and they hit the next town very late. They stop at a town where they should have stopped. It's known as, let me see, Jebus, Jerusalem today. Jebus, the Jebusites. I was like, oh, the servants were like, let's stay here. He's like, no, I don't want to stay where unbelievers are staying. I want us to move to a town where our own people live. So they proceeded to a place called Gibeon. I have a lot of beef for this man. Ha! I have a lot of beef for this man. So he proceeds to Gibeon, and then when they get there, the people, maybe it's too late at night, they don't know anyone, maybe the inns are full or whatever, but they decide to stay in the town square and spend the night there. And I believe that's because maybe the caravans have like where they can sleep. And the elderly man comes in and sees them there. Where are you guys from? Oh, I'm from Ephraim. Oh, I'm from, I'm from somewhere. I'm not from around here too, but I live and work here. You know what? Come stay in my house. So they go into the man's house and he's entertaining them. While they're in there, the youths, or they just call them the men of the town, they come to his house and they're knocking, like, bring out those guys to us. Bring out who? Bring out the Levites. Bring out the men who are with them. So the old man who invites them to his house says, no, I can't do that. They're my guests. They're like, bring them out. We want to know them carnally. You know, I'd never seen that in the Bible before. So that was an expression of homosexuality. So we want to know them carnally. And then he says, no, I can't. I have a virgin daughter here. You can have her. Don't treat strangers like this. Don't treat visitors like this. They're like, we're going to break your house down. So he says, okay. The man, you are the guests. Allow them sort their issues out. He now pushes out his concubine. Ha! I can't even believe this story. He says, you go out there and satisfy the men, and he stays in. Maybe they were afraid that they were going to get killed. And they want a woman, or they want somebody to know carnally, in Bible language. So these men gang up and they rape her. They rape her so much from night till morning. So she saunters back to the house. She, and then puts her hand on the door like she's knocking on the door, and then collapses there and dies. This man gets up. He gets up in the morning. Maybe he even eats or has his bath, whatever. He opens the door and sees her on the ground. And he says, get up, let's go. This woman that you went all the way, you traveled for several days to go and pick up from her dad, after she left you, and you bring her out from her daddy's house, and then you leave her here, and then you don't even care that men have just raped her. You're like, get up, let's go. Anyway, he touches her, she's dead. So he takes her, mounts her in his donkey, and rides home. And when he gets home, he does another crazy thing, something that has never been done. He cuts her body up into... That man, I don't think he's a normal Levite. He cuts her body up into 12 pieces. Then he packages everything like a mafianzo. Like people in the mafia, the way they will send body parts to their enemies. He sends these body parts around the whole of Israel. I don't know who he dispersed, but maybe he even does it himself. But he drops it at every town square in all the main towns. This must have taken him a long time to deliver. Anyway, people wake up and then they see maybe a head or an arm or a torso or something. What? Who did this? And then they're like, it's this guy from Levi. He probably didn't hide the fact that he was the one who cut up her body and dumped it in the town square. Who did this? And then they ask him, what is this thing you have done? We have, since we left Egypt, I'm talking of over 300 years now, we have never witnessed a thing like this. What got into you to do this? So he now narrated how he went to the town of Benjamin after he picked up his concubine from her dad's place, and then they wanted to know him sexually. Well, he gave them his concubine and they raped her to death. So this is his vengeance. Please, the elders should tell him what to do. So the whole of Israel gathers and they're like, this cannot work. This cannot work. We have to take Benjamin to town. So they go and then they all gather. The Bible writes it here as one man. They gather and then they challenge Benjamin. So you would think that the men of Benjamin would be like, oh, we're going to fish out the men who did this and deal with it. We know it's wrong. The men of Benjamin are like, what? Why are you shouting at us? Please don't shout at us, I beg. You just give that kind of attitude. And the moment that happens, all hell breaks loose. The Israelites say, we're going to take you guys to war. They go to war. These Benjamins, they're not only stubborn, they are strong. They tell us that they have several men who can do who can sling, who can do slingshots and miss a hair's breadth. Very sound, both with the left hand and the right hand, like they're sound warriors in Benjamin, and they were not remorseful. So they go to war. The first day of this war, of course, after they had already marshaled themselves, 400,000 Israelites against, let me see where I wrote it down, against 26 Benjamites, 7,000 men from Gibeah. Okay, no. Sorry, I'm mixing that up. My things are so tiny. I wanted to just give. Okay, so let me just continue since I'm finding it hard to track how I wrote it down here. Anyway, they go to war. The first day, about 26,000 Israelites are killed. The Israelites can't believe it. The next day, they go to war again. Another 18,000 are eliminated. By the Benjamins are stronger than we gave them credit for. So they eliminate the 18,000 people. The normal Israelites now panic. They go to God and then they are crying, they are fasting, they are praying, they are like throwing their, basically in mourning because now they've lost a lot of people. And the Benjamins seem to be having the upper hand. So they go and meet the priest and they say, please tell us what to do. So the priest tells them, don't worry, I'll go with you. Go back. They cast lots. Who should go first? Judah should go first and all of that stuff. So they go back to war, and this time they are able to fight the Benjamins and they defeat them. How does this happen? They set an ambush for them. A group of them go in as though they're going to fight them again. The other Israelites hide behind, and then when those other people come out, the Benjamites come out again. We're gonna kill you guys, and then they chase them down the line. And then, of course, once they have lured majority of the men out, the Israelites go behind, invade the town, and set it ablaze. And by then, the Benjamites know they were losing, and so eventually they defeated the Benjamites. On that day, about 25,000 Benjamites fall down, and 600 of them fled to the wilderness. 600 of them fled to the wilderness and to a place called the Rock of Rimmon for 4 months, while Israel went to town, messing up the entire town. So that brings to an end our Old Testament reading today. It's a very gory story and a very sad story, and not much was said about the concubine, her father, her family, and how they took all of this news. But I feel very strongly that this concubine was not protected. I guess in their time it was accepted to have concubines, to fulfill some sort of polygamy or polygamous desire or something. But it tells us that you must take full responsibility, and he didn't take responsibility. Him, his host, everything went bad. Maybe they shouldn't have left the father's house. Maybe he suspected something bad was going to happen. I don't know. But it turned out really bad, and she paid with her life. He too wasn't a very good husband. Yeah. Anyway, it took Israel to war, all because of a quarrel. Whatever it was that they could have settled among themselves, they didn't settle, and this ended up being a long, drawn-out quarrel that didn't end well. So that's the end of the Old Testament reading. I feel like, I guess, sometimes one needs to look at the reasons for your little disagreement, because they can go down the line. So now, you can have, just be looking at this story, something happened here, and down the line it caused a whole war, and before the end of the war we're looking at thousands, multiple thousands of people had been killed because a man and his concubine or his wife had a disagreement. That tells me that deep down, these little minor disagreements or little minor issues can cascade into something terrible further down the line. Anyway, that's our Old Testament reading. Our New Testament reading is just a rounding up of the book of John 3. So John, nearby, basically I'd already narrated the story before, Jesus and John. And Jesus begins to teach his disciples, for God so loved the world. This is where the famous scripture, for God so loved the world, is. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believes in him should not perish but have everlasting life. And if you believe in him, you're justified. This is not about what you do, but if you don't believe in him, you are already condemned. And these are not my words. They are the words from the Bible, exactly as they are written. So this is the one of the pillars of Christianity today, modern day Christianity. That this is one of the things we use to tell people like there's room for you on board the Christian boat, that sort of thing. So if you're listening to this and you're wondering should you, that's God's call to you. If this even triggered something in your heart, that's God's call to you. Anyway, so at the end of yesterday, remember I told the story that Jesus, after sharing all of this with the disciples, uh, John's disciples overheard Jesus, saw him baptizing people. And I was like, oh, I didn't know Jesus was baptizing as well. I've never really paid attention to that scripture before. And then they come and tell John that, look, Jesus is baptizing people. And in fact, people are going more to him than they are coming to you now. And then John says, yes, that's because I am not the Messiah. He is the one with the assignment. He is the one God has given the task. He is the one who has the deep knowledge of God and has been engraced to be the one. He's the one. He's the main one. He's the Lamb of God. He's everything. I must take a back seat. He's coming center stage now while I recede to the back. I talked about this yesterday. And here, I wrote here, I'm stepping back, I'm like a best man. I'm like a best man. No one can get something unless God gives it to him. And God has chosen to abundantly lavish Jesus with all the gifts that he has today. He is head and shoulders above every other person around here. And he has come down from heaven. John was so, without any ambiguity, so clear about who Jesus was and so ready to take his place. Amazing, amazing. No competition. The Father has chosen him. So if you believe, you have everlasting life, and no wrath shall befall you. But if you don't, you are already losing. So that's what John was saying in a nutshell. Anyway, the Pharisees were enjoying the rivalry between John and John the Baptist. So Jesus, seeing that the Pharisees were counting the number of baptisms between him and John, causing the rivalry, Jesus packed up from Judea and left to another part of, and departed from Galilee. No, for Galilee. And so that's the end of our Old New Testament reading for today. Alright, so our psalm, we read a psalm and a proverb every single day, right? Our psalm, so this is day 124. If you're following, this is day 124. We have 241 days to go. Alright. Our psalm is Psalm 102. Psalm 102. And our Proverbs is 22 to 24. So let me read that quickly. Proverbs 22 to 24. Do they not go astray who desire evil? But mercy and truth belong to those who devise good. In all labor there is profit, but idle chatter leads only to poverty. I love so much this Psalms and Proverbs because they're so replete with wisdom. We have to do a series on it. The crown of the wise is their riches, but the foolishness of fools is folly. Yes, the foolishness of fools is folly. Alright, so Psalm 102, and then we're done for the day. I'll be done with that in a minute. It's a bit of a long read, so it will take us like 2 minutes. Alright, so let's quickly. The Lord's eternal love. Hear my prayer, O Lord, and let my cry come unto you. Do not hide your face from me in the day of my trouble. I know a song like that. Hear my cry, O Lord. Attend unto my prayer. Alright, incline your ear to me in the day that I shall call. Answer me speedily. For my days are consumed like smoke, and my bones are burned like earth. My heart is stricken and withered like grass, so that I forget to eat my bread. Because of the sound of my groaning, my bones cling to my skin. I am the pelican of the wilderness. I'm like an owl of the desert. I lie awake, and I am like a sparrow alone on the housetop. Verse 8. My enemies reproach me all day long. Those who deride me swear an oath against me. For I have eaten ashes like bread. I have mingled my drink with weeping. Because of your indignation and your wrath, for you have lifted me up and cast me away. My days are like a shadow that lengthens, and I wither away like grass. But you, O Lord, shall endure forever, and the remembrance of your name to all generations. You shall arise and have mercy on Zion, for the time to favor her, yes, the set time has come. Ooh. My set time is gone. Okay. For the for your servants take pleasure in her stones and show favor to her dust. So the nations shall fear the name of the Lord, and all the kings of the earth your glory. 16. For the Lord shall build up Zion, he shall appear in his glory, he shall regard the prayer of the destitute and shall not despise their prayer. This will be written for the generations to come, that a people yet to be created may praise the Lord. For he looked down from the heights of his sanctuary, from heaven the Lord viewed the earth, to hear the groaning of the prisoner, to release those appointed to death, to declare the name of the Lord in Zion, and his praise in Jerusalem, when the peoples are gathered together and the kingdoms to serve the Lord. 23. He weakened my strength in the way, he shortened my days. I said, Oh God, do not take me away in the midst of my days. Your years are throughout all generations. Of old you laid the foundations of the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. They will perish, but you will endure. Yes, they will grow old like a garment, like a cloak. You will change them, and they will be changed. But you are the same, and your years will have no end. The children of your servants will continue, and their descendants will be established before you. So that's our reading from the book of Psalms, Psalm 102. So please subscribe to my channel if you've enjoyed this, or if you're curious about the Bible and want to know more, or just want something you can follow daily. If you find you don't have the discipline to follow through, if you follow my series, you will read the Bible, entire Bible, through in 1 year. The scriptures that I read are in the description box below. Thank you for joining me today, and I'll see you tomorrow.